Hello all, and welcome to the F1 Authentic season launch auction video preview. And for our first item, please join me in the studio where we have this incredible Sauber C20 wind tunnel car model. This item comes to us directly from the Sauber team, and it's a 50% scale model of the real car. For 2001, the Sauber team developed a completely new car that shared no components with its predecessor. They approached the project with a lean mentality. They wanted to simplify the car and make a more lightweight package that they could then add ballast to. As with all F1 cars, the main performance contributor was aerodynamics. For this, the Sauber team spent 35 weeks at the Hessen wind tunnel in Switzerland. They used this specific model to develop new aerodynamic concepts to confirm what shapes they wanted to introduce in the real car. That wind tunnel is a 50% scale model, therefore it's half the size of a real car. And this model is used. This is built like a real car with carbon fiber components, a lot of 3D printed components. The Sauber C20 was the car that Kimi Räikkönen debuted in Formula 1. He then went on to, of course, become world champion with Ferrari. To celebrate it, the Sauber team decided to gift the wind tunnel model to the RUAG team, the managers of that wind tunnel that they were using. The car was then painted by Andreas Jordi, a Swiss figurative artist, who applied his masterful strokes and creative colors to an already very beautiful silhouette. The car incorporated a number of very interesting elements, mainly this twin keel front suspension design. The aerodynamic ethos of the car was to have a high nose, and to enable that whilst retaining proper suspension design, the designers decided to mount the bottom wishbones onto these extensions that protrude under the tub. For wind tunnel testing to provide accurate results, the teams must test the cars on rolling roads and under different suspension height settings. As such, these models incorporate rotating wheels and functioning suspension. If we remove this front wheel, we can see a very interesting bit of design. You can see that the team replicated the upright design and the brake ducts and brake caliper. Our next item is this McLaren 60th anniversary dual-signed mini helmet. McLaren is a team that has incredible history in the sport. It was founded in 1963 by four-time Grand Prix winner Bruce McLaren. In 2023, they celebrated their 60th anniversary. Included in those celebrations was naming their car for that season the MCL 60. With which Lando, Norris and Oscar Piastri race in the 2023 season. The McLaren team commissioned Bell to manufacture these mini helmets. Bell manufactured them in the Bahrain factory just outside the Bahrain International Circuit, where the full-size helmets the drivers on the grid wear. The helmet is adorned with a number of McLaren designs, including a quote from founder Bruce McLaren himself, which is gorgeous. The first essential is enthusiasm, not just mild, burning enthusiasm. Along with that, it's signed by Lando Norris with his famous number 4, and Oscar Piastri, his teammate and race winner that season. The helmet's presented in perfect conditions, and we're excited to share it with you. Our next item is a Lewis Hamilton 2007 McLaren suit. The title greatest of all time has been discussed and debated throughout history. There's a lot of drivers that definitely deserve it, but it's impossible to compare between eras. Regardless of that, Lewis Hamilton needs to be in that conversation. Lewis Hamilton joined Formula 1 in 2007, his first year, and he came from winning consecutive titles in European Formula 3, GP2, and then almost won the F1 championship in just his first year. He came onto the F1 paddock and scored an incredible third place finish at just his first race. He followed that on with 9 consecutive podiums and finished the year just 1 point from the World Championship, which was won by Kimi Räikkönen. That year, Lewis Hamilton beat his teammate Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion at the time. 2007 was also particularly exciting because it was when Spygate unfolded. This was a tale of industrial espionage, which included everything from deaths with unknown causes to £100 million fines, and ultimately ended up with McLaren being disqualified from that year's Constructors' Championship. This suit is from that season. It's from the Bahrain Grand Prix, the third race of the year, where Lewis Hamilton scored his second place in the sport and his third consecutive podium out of his first 3 races. The suit is beautiful. It includes the high glow orange for the Vodafone logos, and it's just the history that it has, being from that debut season of a driver that then went on to win 7 world championships, is incredible. Our next item continues to tell Lewis Hamilton's history in the sport. From 2007, his debut year, we go to 2011. And if we look back to those years, they were difficult if you weren't a Red Bull fan. The Red Bulls, designed by Adrian Newey and driven by Sebastian Vettel, were dominant. And that year scored every pole position except one. The only driver that was fast enough to beat those Red Bulls was Lewis Hamilton at the Korean Grand Prix. 2011 also saw Lewis Hamilton beat a very interesting record. He became the driver who at the time had got the most penalty points, with 6 points, a record that was only beaten by Pastor Maldonado in 2014. 2011 was also a fun year for Lewis Hamilton, with Cars 2, the movie, launching, where Lewis Hamilton played himself in a McLaren car version of himself. This suit is from the early part of the season, as we can tell from the IGO logo on the chest, a logo that was later replaced by Lucozade in the later part of the season. The next item is Kimi Antonelli 2025 Mercedes suit. Kimi Antonelli came into the Mercedes F1 team to follow in the legendary footsteps of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, who'd won 6 of his 7 world championships with the Mercedes team, left to join the Scuderia Ferrari team. Toto Wolff, the team principal, saw something in young Kimi Antonelli, who was the 3rd youngest driver to join F1 following Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll and himself. We know he's got the potential, we know he's got the talent to go on to do great things. He's already demonstrated it with 3 podiums in his first season and an incredible 2nd place at Brazil. The opportunity to have a suit from the debut season of any driver is always exceptionally exciting, especially when it's a driver of the talent of Kimi Antonelli, a driver that we know will go on to do great things and win races. I love the suit, and I'm particularly fond of this detail on the back that denotes it as a driver suit. Another incredible detail is this is the first year in which Mercedes was sponsored by Adidas, which we can see on the shoulders and on the legs. Our next item is a Jacques Villeneuve 2002 BAR suit that comes signed by the driver himself. Jacques Villeneuve is an incredible driver, of course son of Gilles Villeneuve, previous F1 driver. Jacques started his racing career in the US. He started racing kart in 1994. In 1994, at his first Indy 500, he almost won the race. He came 2nd, just 9 seconds behind Alonso Jr. In 1995, he then went on to win the Indy 500 and win the championship. In 1996, he decided to leave the US and come to Europe to race with Williams, where he qualified first in just his first ever qualifying at F1 at the 1996 Australian Grand Prix. In 1997, Jacques Villeneuve beat Michael Schumacher for the title and became F1 world champion, something that made him at the time one of only 2 drivers, along with Mario Andretti, to have an F1 world championship title, a kart title and an Indy 500 victory. Jacques Villeneuve finished his time with Williams and went to BAR in 1999. This particular suit is from the 2002 season, his penultimate season with the team, and it's a beautiful suit. Of course, the lucky strike, the tobacco sponsorship, combined with the Honda logo is always going to give a great livery. What I like about this suit is the detail on the belt. You've got Jacques Villeneuve's name, along with his blood type, the emblem for the team, and his racing number 10, alongside, of course, his native Canadian flag. The back of it is even better with that big Lucky Strike and American Original logo. Our next item is a Jacques Villeneuve 2001 BAR helmet, the helmet that he wore at 2 Grand Prix that year, the European Grand Prix and the German Grand Prix. 2001 was a special year for Villeneuve, as it was the year in which he scored his final 2 podiums in F1. One of those podiums he scored wearing this helmet at the German Grand Prix. At Hockenheim that year, he qualified 12th and finished the race in an incredible 3rd place. It was a race that was filled with attrition, with 12 of the participants not finishing, something related to the high temperatures and the particularly long straights seen at the Hockenheim. This helmet's even more special because it comes with the drinks tube and the microphone and the radio kit, so you can still see the microphone in front of the helmet. The helmet comes signed by Villeneuve himself on the visor, something we can see here. This next item is particularly exciting. It is a 1990 McLaren and Dragon Ball Z flag signed by the founder and original illustrator of the manga, Akira Toriyama. In 1990, driven of course by Honda's success in the sport, F1 was growing in popularity in Japan. The publisher Shueisha wanted to maximize this exposure in Japan and decided to sponsor the McLaren team. Shueisha was known for publishing the weekly Shonen Jump manga, the magazine which included the Dragon Ball Z illustrations in it. The illustration on this flag denotes the Dragon Ball Z characters alongside the McLaren MP4-5, driven by Gerhard Berger, as we can tell by number 28 on the nose. As part of that collaboration, Akira Toriyama, the founder, illustrated a number of pieces denoting McLaren's involvement and did this flag. 100 of these flags were created and were gifted to readers of the magazine in a raffle. Only one of these was signed by the founder, by Akira Toriyama, and was gifted to a very prominent member of the McLaren team, who kept it in his collection until very recently. It is an incredible item and perfect for both fans of Formula 1 and fans of the Dragon Ball Z manga. This next item is a Ralf Schumacher 2001 Williams helmet with race usage. There must be something in the Schumacher genes to make them all quick. You have, of course, Michael Schumacher, 7-time world champion. You have his brother, Ralf Schumacher, multiple race winner. And then you have both of their sons. You have Mick Schumacher on Michael's side, who did a stint in Formula 1 and now is racing endurance. And you have David Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher's son, who now also races in touring cars and GTs. Focusing at Ralf Schumacher, he came onto the F1 grid in 1997 with Jordan, and in 1999 joined Williams. In 2001, just his third year with the team, he scored 3 podiums, and he wore a helmet like this throughout the year. The paint job is beautiful. It's in that bright yellow, that very recognizable yellow, with of course the stars on the top, something that became an element of the Schumacher heritage in motorsport. I love the BMW logo. This helmet's particularly exciting because it comes signed and dedicated to the previous owner. Thank you for a great time and all the best, Ralf Schumacher, with a great smiley. It's a beautiful helmet. It comes of course with the radio kit and with all the wear indicating that it's been worn throughout the season. This next lot is a bundle of items from Valtteri Bottas' 2019 season and includes a race-used suit, a replica helmet with a sign visor, and a race-used rear wheel rim. Valtteri Bottas is a driver that carries on the heritage of Finnish drivers in motorsport, a heritage that includes names like Keke Rosberg, Mika Häkkinen, Kimi Räikkönen, Ari Vatanen, Tommi Mäkinen, Kalle Rovanperä, etc. They've always been fast, they've always been consistent. Valtteri Bottas has proven this time and time again. He joined the Mercedes team in 2017, following on in the steps of Nico Rosberg, who retired after winning the World Championship. He spent 5 years with the team, in which 2019 was his best year. He scored 4 victories that year, 15 podiums, and came second in the World Championship. He did this wearing suits like this one that we have here. They're beautiful suits. I've always thought that the suits from those years in the white with the black logos always look fantastic. This suit, of course, includes all of the traditional Mercedes sponsors on that beautiful white material. Alongside the suit, we're offering this replica helmet with a sign visor. This helmet comes to us directly from Valtteri's team, and it's a gorgeous helmet. I've always liked Valtteri Bottas because he's one of the very few drivers in F1 that races with a Stilo helmet, whereas other drivers tend to use bells and Schuberts. Valtteri has always been loyal to that Stilo brand, and I think Stilo has repaid the favor, allowing him in very interesting customizations. For this year, Valtteri included a very interesting detail into the inner lining, having the Finnish flag on both sides of his eyeline. The paint job for that year was very exciting and included very interesting details with his signature on the paint job on both sides and the coat of arms for his county in Finland, the county where he was born. 2019 was a very exciting year for helmet design. It was the first year that the FIA mandated the introduction of the new standard, following on from the investigations into the crash that saw Felipe Massa suffer severe head injuries after being hit by a spring. This new regulation required the eye opening to be slightly narrower and introduced a stiffening element into the forehead area to protect the drivers in case of an impact to that area. Alongside the helmet and the suit, we've included this rear right wheel rim from a Mercedes W20. This wheel rim is beautiful. You can, when you look at it, you can see all of the machining details that the team uses for, well, both aerodynamic effects and for thermal effects, using the heat from the brake disc to heat up the tire and vice versa. What I like about this rim is that it still includes a lot of the lifing information. Lifing information are all those barcodes that you see on F1 parts, and that the team will use internally to track mileage, to track usage throughout the season, and understand where parts need to be retired as they've reached their end of life. See all of these items and more at our F1 Authentics season launch auction. This will be live from Friday the 6th of March throughout to Sunday the 15th of March.